Oh dear, oh dear. I'm sure you've read the title, but you've probably seen by now. ChatGPT escaped. It broke out of its testing environment, hacked another company, and I want to be upfront with you. The headline isn't exactly telling you what's going on behind the scenes, because of course they're not. But here's the thing: once you actually understand what really happened, I think the real version might actually be more concerning than what the headline suggests, and I'll explain why. So I want to go through three things. First, what OpenAI actually disclosed happened. Second, why the "it escaped and it rebelled" framing is wrong. It's kind of a distraction for what actually happened. And third, the actual reason people in AI safety and cybersecurity are worried about this. Because it's actually a lot more concerning and a bit of a sign of things to come. Which we'll explore a little bit later. Because it has nothing to do with AI wanting to be free, and everything to do with something a lot more practical. The last part is honestly the one that matters the most, so I'll explain that one at the end. So here's the actual sequence of events, so there's no confusion about what actually happened. Back in July, so last month, OpenAI ran an internal test. This wasn't, public facing. So when you go onto ChatGPT and use it, and you're typing on it, you can see what's been published as the latest AI model. So I'll say, 4.5 or what have you, turbo model that goes a bit faster. This was an internal test, so you can't access it. This was an experimental model being deliberately tested for how good it is at hacking. I have no idea why they thought this would be a good idea, especially when it's, unexplored territory and you're going to let it try and hack something. Oh, God. It's kind of a recipe for disaster, right, if you think about it, but anyway, that's what they were doing. And that's the whole point of the test. They wanted to know how its offensive cybersecurity capabilities fared in a sandbox environment. You've heard of Minecraft, right? Which is a sandbox game. The sandbox environment enables it to kind of have free will and roam around and give it its own choices, if you will. It's sealed off, but it's kind of given a bigger cage to run around, if that makes sense. So a sealed off digital box where the model's normal restrictions are loosened so researchers can actually see what it's capable of without touching anything real. The model, which was in this kind of digital cage, if you will, was called GPT 5.6 Sol. And obviously you probably haven't used it because it's not available to the public. You've probably heard of like GPT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And it found a vulnerability inside the supposed sealed environment. So instead of it being, a fixed barrier, it wasn't so fixed. And this is where it gets a bit dodgy. It exploited the vulnerability it found, and it escalated its own access, moved through internal systems, and eventually reached a pathway connected to the open internet. So Sol then gave itself internet access, which it wasn't given before, which is pretty dodgy. It's pretty messed up, if you ask me. AI should not have access to the internet when it's given free will, right? But I think that's kind of the perfect storm. And obviously it wasn't supposed to be able to reach the internet from inside the sandbox at all. From there, it went after Hugging Face. Now, Hugging Face, I'm sure many of you have heard of it, but if you haven't, it's a fantastic software. I'll do another video on it at some point, but it's a real company and a platform. Now, this platform has a large kind of impact on the AI industry because it hosts models and datasets, and you're able to make AI videos and audio and images and all sorts. And there's even tools to adjust existing images and videos. So you've heard of deep fakes, right? Which is quite a dangerous topic in itself. Hugging Face, everything can be done on Hugging Face. Anything AI media related. ChatGPT 5.6 Sol broke into Hugging Face and accessed it. That's what was hacked, is Hugging Face and their systems. OpenAI's own words for this were an unprecedented cyber incident involving state-of-the-art cyber capabilities. That's just what they said. That's what they used to describe their own model's behavior. Because the real story here about containment is what they're trying to tell you. It's not ChatGPT rising up and it's become conscious, blah, blah, blah. They're not trying to tell you that, which, whether it's true or not, I don't know, it's a little fishy if you ask me. You know, maybe they're trying to hide the truth from us about whatever's going on. Who knows? And the model found a gap in the security setup that OpenAI's own engineers set. Genuinely, some of the best people in the world at this didn't know it existed, this issue in the sandbox. OpenAI is a big, very powerful company. It's kind of leading in the AI space. Financially, not actually doing that well. They're not making a lot of profit. AI bubble, you know. AI bubble jokes eat your heart out because, yeah, OpenAI is not making a lot of money. But they're a big, powerful company. And they have some of the best engineers in the world, top people working on AI. And they didn't know this issue existed. That's the part that should get your attention. Not the AI broke out, but the AI is more capable than they thought, and they missed something that allowed the AI to break out. The people missed a mistake, and it gave the AI an opportunity. That's the scary thing. And it matters a lot more once you kind of look at the bigger picture, because companies right now are racing to give AI agents all sorts of access. We'll see AI banking one day. That can't be too far in the future. Lots of people have already given it access to financial information and spreadsheets to help with work, you know, business tools. It's already in many business tools. Personal data. AI may make its way into healthcare one day, which is, if you ask me, not a good idea. Really don't want AI rummaging around personal confidential information. I mean, God, what if you give AI, I don't know, access to surgery and all sorts of... God, no thanks. I don't want that happening. But if a test model can find an unknown gap in a sealed, deliberately monitored sandbox, the question worth asking is what happens when similar systems are deployed with real-world access and nobody's watching quite as closely as OpenAI was during the test. You know, this is the first time it's happened, so it's all eyes on it because it's not business as usual. So it's not very encouraging for the safety and the future that AI might have. So whether this is a one-off or maybe this is the first example of something that's going to keep happening, are these systems going to get more capable? Are we going to be in even more danger? That's the worrying thing. I think it's possible. I think we should all be, you know, protesting, but that's just my take. And to be honest, I think later we're in for a lot of risk and potential danger around our confidential information, our money, our banking. And AI continues to be rushed and not taken care of. It should be a tool and not a weapon. And I think it's going in a very bad, very dangerous direction where there's a lot of risk involved in all of these above things. Because I know lots of people out there, especially slightly older people, who will be like, well, if I get some of my personal data, it's not the end of the world. You know, like people might find out that I'm this height and I've got green eyes and I've got black hair, blah, 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 blah. That's not a problem, but you've got to think about the banking. If it can hack out of this secure, supposedly secure sandbox environment that they've created, if it's going to start hacking banks, that is going to be a serious, serious problem. I don't want AI anywhere near my bank accounts. I don't want it near my trading account. I don't want it near my current account, my credit card. I don't want any of that. Not interested. Thank you very much. So I'm worried about the banking. It's concerning me. So when it does get access to banking, you know, maybe you have AI like bank managers and they'll manage... it's obviously used in actively managed funds, you know, in financial companies, investment banks, that's the word I'm looking for. AI is obviously used there, but AI doesn't have access to trade and manage people's privately held funds yet. And it also doesn't work as like a banking clerk or advisor where you go into a bank and you're talking about credit cards and mortgages and you're doing that with a person. Whereas one day if that's with an AI and maybe the AI is handling transactions as well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what I do not want happening. So not looking forward to the future on this one.